शुक्लांबरधरं विष्णुं शशिवर्णं चतुर्भुजं प्रसन्नवदनं ध्यायेत् सर्वविघ्नोपशान्तये. Om. Dear friends, we just entered the third chapter of the Gita, that is Karma Yoga. And Krishna made it very clear that there are two two types of nishtha. Nishtha means a very, very dedicated path. Let us say, very, very dedicated method of living, dedicated style of living, let us say. One is called the man of action and the other is man of contemplation. And what Krishna called was Karma, Jnana Yogena Sankhyanam, Karma Yogena Yoginam. He used these two words called Sankhyanam. And Sankhya, of course, we know the meaning of the word Sankhya. When we started that second chapter of the Gita, Sankhya means not that Sankhya of Kapila Maharshi. There is a system of philosophy called Sankhya system of philosophy. We are not referring to that. Sankhya, that word etymologically means Samyak Khyayate Atma Tattvam iti Sankhyam. That is, by this method, Atma Tattvam, the nature of self, is very well known. So that is the meaning of Sankhya. So that is exactly what Krishna was saying in the second chapter. That is, he told about the Jnana Yoga. Jnana Yoga is the same as Sankhya Yoga. Of course, there is no chapter called Jnana Yoga in Gita. It is called Sankhya Yoga. Sankhya means Jnanam. So that is what we have to understand. Sankhya does not refer to that Kapila Maharshi and his Sankhya theory and whatnot. So here he made it very clear that there are two types. That is, one is Jnana Yoga for those who are dedicated to find out what is the nature of reality, what is the supreme reality, what am I, what is my relation with the universe. So people who pose such questions and people who seek answers, basically we call them seekers. So for these seekers, there is what is called Jnananishta. And for all those who are not seekers, there is another prescribed path. That is, what is that path? Karma Yoga. That is, people are there, how they have to conduct themselves in the society, how they have to make progress in the society, while making a living and while living comfortable life, while achieving what is called dharma, artha, kama, all that in the framework of dharma. In the framework of dharma only he attains this artha and kama. That is what is called pravrutti dharma. Pravrutti dharma and nivrutti dharma. These are again Jnana Yogena Sankhyanam, Karma Yogena Yoginam is the same as Nivrutti Dharma and Pravrutti Dharma. Sankhya, what the system, the path of the Sankhyas is called Nivrutti Dharma. And the Nishtha of the people, the Yoginam, Karma Yogi, is the same as Pravrutti Dharma. That is how a person has to conduct himself in the society in a very harmonious way, discharging his duty and ensuring that the others' rights are respected. All those things, of course, they are all implied. I am not using modern terms just for the sake of it. They are all implied here. We are going to see that. We are going to see how Krishna is going to explain in a very wonderful manner. So he told about these two nishthas. And again he said, then na karmana manarambhat naishkarmyam purushosnute. We were reading this particular shloka, that is shloka number 4. Karma is action, Nishkarma is actionless, Naishkarmyam is actionlessness. So we have to coin a very long word which may not be there in English language. But in Vedanta, if you read Vedanta texts in English, we find so many words like this which may not be there in the dictionary. So actionlessness is the state of that jnani. Strictly speaking, the meaning of Naishkarmyam is that state of a jnani, where the jnani has transcended all these action and then all the dualities like love, hate, anger, greed, etc., etc. All these things he has transcended. He has cleared his mind of all these impurities and he is very much stable in that Atma Jnana. So that when he is so stable in this Atma Jnana, he is having a vision of the entire universe. The entire universe he sees as not different from Brahman. He sees the universe not as a universe but as Brahman. So in that state, he is a person whose actions are very pure. And whatever action he does, it is as good as non-action. That is actionless in the sense that it does not produce any result for him. It is not binding. It is he has gone, he has risen above that level. So long as a person has that notion of I, mine, etc., whatever action he does, that binds him. And a jnani is a person where that kartrutva bhavana, that I and mine have totally dissolved. I was giving you the example of a salt doll which merges in the ocean, or the wave which realizes that it is not different from the ocean. So he is in that state where that I and mine are totally gone, disappeared. So that is actionlessness. So somebody, now Krishna is proposing, okay, somebody may say, okay, I will not do any action, and by not doing any action, I will attain actionlessness. If somebody says like that, he is deluding himself. That is what he is saying. Na karmana manarambhat naiskarmyam purushosnute na cha sanyasanadeva. Sanyasanadeva means by merely taking up sannyasa. Suppose I say, okay, now I am going to be a jnani. I will immediately renounce this world. I will go and then I will put on some saffron robes and I will become a sannyasi. And by becoming a sannyasi, I am attaining moksha. So it doesn't work. That is what he says. Sannyasam jnanarahitat sannyasat. That is the commentary. The commentators have written, if the man has not realized what is the supreme reality, if the person has not realized that Brahman, then all his sannyasam is of no use. Nacha sanyasanadeva siddhim. Siddhi means that jnana yoga nishtha. Jnana yoga nishtha means that is atma jnana, that realization, the state of realization, where the wave realizes it is ocean. So that is that state. So that siddhim na samadhi gacchati. He is not going to attain that siddhi. So merely by renouncing samsara, he is not going to attain that state of siddhi. And so the basic point what we understand here is the final goal for any human being is that moksha, as we see in the very structure of our purusharthas, dharma, artha, kama and moksha. In the very structure of these purusharthas, okay, you attain all. The dharma, shastra or the scripture does not prohibit a man from enjoying life. It only says you enjoy life in the fold, within the framework of dharma. Don't do this, don't do that, don't earn money. It does not say. In fact, our scriptures say, yeah, as long as you live, a person can make money, a person can earn money, but at the same time he has to be doing dharma. In fact, the very first shloka of Hitopadesha says that a person has to earn money and earn vidya with a framework, with an idea that he is not going to die. Ajaramaravat prajnah vidyam artham cha sadhayet. Vidya is knowledge, artham is money. A person has to pursue knowledge and money as though the person is not having any death. That is, till old age a person can study. That is the reason why we see some old people at the age of 80 or 90, we see them doing their 4th PhD or 5th PhD. Then the shloka also says, Gruhita iva keshena mrutyuna dharmamacharet. And while performing dharma, that is, you make money, but at the same time you also do dharma. That means you have to spend that money in a useful way. You have to spend that money in a useful way and then do some good to the people. So as though Gruhita iva keshana, as though the Lord of Death has caught us by the tuft. Kesha, he has caught us by the tuft and then he is holding us, dragging us. So anytime death may take us away. So with that frame of mind, one has to do dharma. That is there. Rutau bharya gamanam. It is something which is mandated for him. If you read Mahabharata, there is in the very first Adi Parva, there is an upakhyana called Udanko Upakhyana. In that you find this thing. That is a person who has to definitely reach his wife, because she is a Rutusnata, and a person has to necessarily go and meet her. So that's a peculiar situation we find in Mahabharata. Not only there, in Upanishads also it is said, Rutau Bharya Gamanam is something which is mandated. So our scriptures do not prohibit a man from making money. Making money means making money in a lawful way. So scriptures do not prohibit any of these things. But the final goal is, okay, you enjoy all these things, but don't stop here only. But at the same time, at some level in your life, try to know the meaning in life. Try to know who you are. Try to know what is that reality. So that is what is that. So this Naishkarmyam which Krishna is talking about here is that final goal. Naishkarmyam is that level, that state called liberation or moksha, where a person is liberated from various types of bondages. Liberation is what? People's Liberation Army, we say. Liberation from what? Liberation from some bondage. Freedom. Freedom from what? We achieved some independence or freedom. Freedom from what? Freedom from some bondage. So here also, a human being is bound by so many chains. There is one Western philosopher called Rousseau, that is French philosopher. who says, a man is born free, but everywhere he is bound in chains. A human being is born free, totally free, but everywhere he is bound in chains. The moment a person is born, you are putting a stamp on him. Oh, he belongs to so and so religion. And you have given him a name, and you have given him something, some social status. You have given a social identity, and you have bound him. Oh, he is your father, he is your mother, he is so and so, he is your sister, etc., etc. There are so many bondages, you have got an obligation, you have got a duty, etc., etc. So this is what Vedanta says. In fact, Rousseau was a great student of Vedanta. We know that there were some two French philosophers, Voltaire and Rousseau, who made a very great impact, and they were said to be instrumental for the French Revolution. If we read about the French Revolution, they say Voltaire and Rousseau, their writings were principally responsible for the French Revolution, for awakening the masses who were totally under the rule of that French king. So that way, in fact, these two people were so influenced by the Upanishadic philosophy. So here the point is, nacha sannyasana, that naishkarmyam is that stage, that is getting liberated from all the bondages, getting freed from all the bondages. So a human being is supposed to be free. So that is our objective. And in fact, this concept of freedom actually has gone from us to the Western world sometime in the 18th century, and thereafter it came in the form of what is now called liberalism. Liberalism, the enlightenment of the 18th century. People talk about the enlightenment of the 18th century. That is basically because of the interaction with the Indian texts. So that is one thing. Okay, next shloka we will see. Next shloka, Krishna also says, why this nacha sannyasana deva, why mere sannyasa is not going to give you any credit. Mere sannyasa is only self-deception. Then why is it so? Krishna is saying in the next shloka, 5th shloka, nahi kaschit kshanamapi jatu tishtatya karma krutu karyate hyavashah karma sarvah prakrutijair gunaihi. There he is basically examining the human nature. Human nature, what is human nature? We cannot stay idle even for a minute. We just cannot stay idle even for a minute. We want to do something or the other. We'll just, my mind, manasa, vacha, karma, these are the three karanas. Three karanas means three types of tools which we are having. The mind, even if you don't physically do something, the mind is doing something. The mind is wandering. The mind is thinking about something. Manas, walk, that is speech, and also action. Action means the indriyas. The indriyas, they go towards the indriya sense objects, and then they do various things. So this human being cannot keep quiet even for a minute. He just cannot keep quiet without doing anything. So that is the reason why our forefathers, or let us say the sages, have worked out a brilliant scheme of, okay, these are all the mandated karmas for a human being. A person, for every class, in fact, if you see the social structure, if you see, from all categories of people, okay, a Brahmana is supposed to do this. Very early in the morning, he is supposed to do this. He is supposed to do this Trikala Sandhya Vandanam. Not only Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaisya, all the people, they were supposed to do this Trikala Sandhya Vandana. Then they were also supposed to do what is called Panchamahayajna. I will explain that Panchamahayajna later. That is five-fold duty to various things. Right now I can explain five-fold duty is, there is what is called say Atithi Yajna. That is giving food to the people who are hungry. Suppose there is a guest. Even if there is no guest, there may be some people who are without food. You are supposed to give food every day. This is something which is mandated every day. Atithi Yajna. Deva Yajna. We are supposed to worship the Devas. And then Swadhyaya Yajna. We are supposed to study that portion of our text. That is, every human being, every person in the society is supposed to read. Okay, this Rigveda is something which you are supposed to read. Yajurveda is your text. So and so Samaveda is your text. This was the structure in olden days. So a person was mandated to read it. Mandated to read, not only read, also to propagate and also to tell others. Propagate means not conversions, but tell others, educate others. So that was the picture. So Swadhyaya Yajna, Atithi Yajna, then Bhuta Yajna. Bhuta Yajna means giving food even to animals. Giving food to animals was again a mandated thing. So these are the things which were called Pancha Mahayajnas, five-fold Yajna, Deva Yajna, Pitru Yajna, Swadhyaya Yajna, Atithi Yajna, Bhuta Yajna. So like that, these are the things. Yajna means any good activity. In fact, Yajna does not mean, in the normal sense of Yajna is different. And there, here it is used in a figurative sense. Krishna is going to explain it. So all these things, this structure, karma structure has been evolved by our rishis. Basically to keep a man busy, keep a man positively busy. So that if a man is not positively busy, an idle man's brain is a devil's workshop, we know. So this man, okay, he will get up at 9 a.m. Somebody will get up at 10 a.m. There is no order in the society, there is no uniformity in society. So our people said, all the people, you have to get up very early in the morning. Before sunrise, you have to do Sandhya Vandana. That is something which is mandated for all the Dvijas. Dvija means Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaishya, which comprised of 80% of the society. 80% of the society were that. And so the society, all the people will get up before that. And then a person has to perform various activities. There is what is called Nitya Karma. And Nitya Karma is what I said, what is called Sandhya Vandana, etc., etc. Then there is what is called Naimittika Karma. Naimittika means for some nimittam. Nimittam means for a particular cause. Suppose there is a Paurnima today. On this Paurnima, you are supposed to do this. On Ekadashi, you are supposed to do this. On so and so Ashtami, you are supposed to do this. On so and so Amavasya, you are supposed to do this. So our people have done such brilliant homework and then given, like a headmaster gives a timetable. Suppose a school headmaster, what does he do? A school headmaster, he prepares a weekly timetable. And that timetable goes on for the whole year. Or maybe for 3 months, or maybe next semester some other timetable. So that means you are going according to a timetable and there is no deviation from the timetable. The moment it comes, from minute to minute, your action is taken care of. That is controlling human action or monitoring human action or management of human action. Use whatever word you want. Management of human action is a very, very important thing which we see in our scriptures. And not only these categories, also in one's own life. Brahmachari, what is his duty? Brahmachari, Gruhastha, there are 4 stages in a human being's life. That is Brahmachari, when he goes to the school and then studies. In olden days, they used to study Veda. And those who were not studying Veda, they were studying other things like Ramayana, Mahabharata, etc., etc. So you are supposed to go and study. Brahmachari, what are the duties of a Brahmachari? Then when he gets married, what are the duties of a Gruhastha? And how Gruhastha has to take care of his parents, how Gruhastha has to take care of his relatives and friends. So who are all the dependent people? There is again a very huge list. So Gruhastha Dharma. Then after that there is what is called a Vanaprastha. And after that again there is what is called Sannyasa. So these 4 stages. So the human life is the human society is divided into so many sectors. And for each sector this timetable has been given. It is a sort of lifetime timetable. Dharma Shastra is a sort of lifetime timetable for all the people in the society, starting from a child till a person who is dying. So this sort of structure we find. So that is why this management of human activity is done in a very, very brilliant way by our people. So Krishna is saying, Nahi kaschit kshanamapi jatu tishtatya karma krutu. Nobody can stay without doing any work even for a minute. And karyate hyavashah karma sarvah prakrutijair gunaihi. A man is programmed to do some action. That is prakrutijair gunaihi. So this word guna we came across even earlier. In 2nd chapter, we came across this word. Probably we might have forgotten. So this guna is something which I have to explain. Guna is, we know that the supreme reality is what is called that Brahman. And that Brahman is not a person. Brahma, when I use the word Brahma, Brahma is not that 4-headed Brahma. When I say Brahman, Brahman is, we are referring to that infinite consciousness. And that infinite consciousness has a manifesting power. That manifesting power, in that manifesting power, this whole manifestation takes place, this Prakriti takes place. And this Prakriti, there are 3 constituents in this Prakriti, 3 important constituents. What are they? What is called Sattva Guna, Rajo Guna, Tamo Guna. This Sattva Guna manifest, how these 3 gunas manifest in all the things, all the sentient things and insentient things in the whole universe. So how it manifests, etc., etc. I have to explain it in a slightly detailed way, because there is not a single thing, either animate or inanimate, which is not a product of these 3 gunas. Suppose I say, okay, so and so is having sattva guna. It does not mean 100% sattva guna. There is predominance of sattva guna. Somebody is tamo guna. It is not 100% tamo guna. Maybe a predominance of tamo guna. So it has to be understood like that. We will see tomorrow. Harihi Om Tat Sat.